2, 1.
Here we go! Yo, people, welcome back. Lateness is greatness. Listen up. The Battle of the North is back. It's been a couple weeks, then a couple little revamp, couple extra teams in there as well. Conor from One Leeds Channel will be joining us next week if you're wondering where the Leeds rep is. But we've got Mike from Blue Boyz Network, the Everton rep. They're in the top 4 race. Talk to us. How you doing, bro? David?
Yeah, man, I'm good. Thanks for having me, boys. Obviously, I appreciate it. Everyone watching, appreciate it. And yeah, man, we've worked, a lot of me have, I've worked together with a few of you guys, so it's just nice to build up contacts in the game, innit?
100%. And like I said, it's been a couple of weeks since we've seen Big Steve and Akeem going at it in the North as well. Liverpool out the top 4 as well. It's getting a bit sticky. DJay, how are you doing, bro?
You know what? I'm good, man. We won last week, so everything onwards and upwards, isn't it? Still above Everton.
It's one of them ones, yeah. It's lucky I didn't get Mike actually. But if we did this a couple weeks ago when they beat you at Anfield, it could have been a bit of a madness. Do you know what I mean?
They're still having a parade. They're still having a parade for that.
Yeah, now you've got your rival. You see what I'm saying? Now you've got a rival here, so this is good. Little bit of balance. Yeah, and then everybody hates Leeds as well. So when Conor comes, God help him as well. Akeem, how you doing, bro? Are you ready to concede the title?
No,
you're a joker. How you saying no to that?
I'm only conceding if we do not pick up 3 points on Sunday, which I do think we will.
Okay.
If we don't pick up 3 points, yeah, the title is over. But I'm
all right. Okay, we'll be waiting for that. And then last but not least, the Premier League champion, Manchester is very, very blue. Do you know what I'm saying? Won today again. I think it was 4-1 in the end. I actually came to set up the stream and the goals just kept going in. Was it 4-1 in the end, wasn't it?
4-1, yeah.
Yeah, that's just business as usual. Big Steve in the building. How you doing, bro? Cutthroat.
Good, man. Yeah, I'm good. Listen.
You're calling them Premier League champions?
Well, I was about to say that, I was about to say that.
Liverpool are the Premier League champions.
Yeah, put some respect on it, please. We are champions until May. Let me have that.
Yeah, you can. I'll give you that.
You know what, Steve? Me and you, we're on good relations, so I appreciate that, bro.
Yeah. What it was, yeah. Everyone was putting pressure on me on the Big Six to concede we won the title, yeah. So I said, look, I'm not getting carried away. I said, when I can see that we've won the title, you will see the Premier League trophy on my seat. And then last night, when everyone tuned in, the Premier League trophy was right here where I was. So I'm saying, I'm putting my neck on the line and just saying, look, the way we're playing now, you can't look past it. So I'm confident in it. We're going to win a lot.
First super chat comes in straight for Akeem. Just what I'm saying. I'm here for Akeem getting smoked for the second time tonight. It's all mad. Listen, I don't think you're taking a big risk. Huh? I don't think you're taking a big risk, Steve, because you've won 21 games in a row. I watched that first half tonight, Man City versus Wolves. We may as well start with that 4-1. The first half, your counter press was incredible. You made changes because you're in all competitions, all 4 comps, and you beat them up in the first half. Like, I know it was only 1-0, but you can tell Man City are just in second gear, just going along. And then when Wolves do get back into the game with the goal from Cody, you just be like, right, lads, we start trying now. It's like when you play your little brother on PlayStation and you're giving him a goal and you're letting him get back into the game.
What? And then you sit forward.
and then bang! And then they killed the game. They killed the game, Akeem.
Listen, the mentality of the squad at the minute is unbelievable. I mean, you just got to look at the way the way they lose the ball tonight. You look at Raheem Sterling lost the ball 2 minutes later. Well, 2 seconds later, he's got it back. De Bruyne lost the ball, he's got it back, and they're chasing him packs. And listen, we've watched some football this season, some bad and some good and some mediocre. But when you watch that team play, yeah, they're not the swashbuckling style what everyone's saying. But maybe that was our downfall because we were too swashbuckling. Some games we just smashed through teams, but then we're getting caught. I guarantee you this, last season we got beat off Wolves, and they did exactly the same tonight what they did to us last season. But instead of us trying to force the game on them and getting caught by, because that Adama Traore, he's absolute shit all season until he plays us, and then he just bags. So that would have happened tonight. But you know what? We've done what we're doing. This season, the word for me is controlled, and I think Pep Guardiola and the team is a lot more controlled. And like you say, it's not. It's just. I feel like I'm on repeat because I'm waiting for the smoke. You know me. If City get beat, I'm here and let's have it. But at the minute, they're just levels, and they've got to do it. They've got to win that Champions League this season. There's no excuses. If you're playing football like that and you're doing stuff like that, you've got to win the Champions League. I'm not having it. Last year, I was disappointed. He dropped a bollock against Lyon. This year, there is no excuses at all. You've got to win that Champions League.
What's Jay disagreeing with that?
You know what? Every week, Steve. I remember the first week I came on, Steve was downplaying the Champions League, and then I was like, "No, you need to win it." He's like, "No." And then every week I've come back on, Steve's like, "We got to win that Champions League. We got to win that Champions League to be a big team." So Steve,
what it is it was never people from outside the club was always going on. But no matter what had happened, if we won the Champions League and never won the Premier League, they'd say Pep Guardiola can't be classed as a great until he wins the Premier League. He won the Premier League and they said he can't be classed as a great until he does it back to back. So he did it back to back and won every single trophy. And then they say, well, he can only do it with money. So everything he does, no matter what he did, if he didn't lose a game in the last 10 years, someone would still find something to call him for. But that's the way it is, you know what I mean? But I'm saying as a Man City fan, there's no excuses now with this team, the way they're playing, with the tails up, the squad rotation, to not win that Champions League. So they've got to do it. The time for excuses is gone now.
I completely agree because you're 15 points clear. 15 points. That is ridiculous. And the team that's second, we just played them at the weekend. They're not a great team.
Did you play them?
Yeah. We
Did
played
the game start yet?
Yeah, Chelsea. Obviously, I'm neutral in it. I'm nobody.
He's basically saying the game. He's basically saying the game was terrible.
Did the game start? I just want to know.
It was awful. Akeem, you know it was. It
was. But you know, the way your team was set up, you know, I said it from within 5 minutes of the game. I was like, this is a 0-0 written all over it. And if it's not a 0-0, it will be, you know, maybe 1-0, and you know, whoever scores first will win the game. You know, and ultimately it was the first thing. It was just that it was a slow paced affair from start to finish. Like I didn't think any team really wanted to win that badly. We didn't have the right mentality to the game. We had to win that game. We didn't have a mentality like we had to win that game. And we knew full stop that regardless of if people wrote off United for the title or the team's not good enough, and you know, City have won, you know, 12 or 13 in a row, all of these factors go for City 100%. But the shame about United in that game is that we knew if we did win against Chelsea, we put the pressure on, and we did beat City on Sunday, which I still think we will anyway. The gap would have been down to 9 points or something after that game. After that game, going into the second leg going into the Champions League latter stages or the European latter stages, as well as the FA Cup, mixing in there, I would think very confidently that United are still in the title race. Now,
my thing is that your team don't play like as if you're trying to get into the title race. And I want
100%.
Because the way you set, I've seen your record against the Big Six. You lost 6-1 to Tottenham, and then after that, no goals scored against any of the Big Six teams. No games won, and a 1-0 defeat to Arsenal. The rest of them are 0-0. You don't set up like you are chasing a title. A team that are going for the title and are playing the Manchester United way, which is what Solskjaer was brought in to do, they don't sit there against Chelsea and play for a 0-0, which is exactly what you guys did.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is the thing, and you know, the mentality of the coach, you know, is evident that we're just not, you know. Sometimes you can see we set up, and you can see the numbers in the back against the Big Six. You know, besides that 6-1 game, I think most of the games has been 1-1 or 0-0.
0-0, all 0-0, bro.
Yeah, all them 0-0, and that kind of goes to anytime you get a lot of those sort of results, 0-0s or 1-1s. You get, especially the way those goals come in or they didn't come in, you can usually tell a pattern that we're setting up in those games not wanting to lose rather than wanting to win. And that's ultimately the problem. Like, we're, you know, are you looking up or are you looking down? Is Solskjaer looking up like we can catch that team ahead, or is he looking down where a draw will keep us in a comfortable top 4 position? And I think that's what he's doing. He's looking down rather than looking up. He needs to keep his head up and then look up at the possibilities that are still there at a team that, I'll be honest, you know, this is the worst Premier League in history, in my own personal history. This is the worst Premier League I've experienced. I'm not just saying this, instead of trolling, I'm not just saying this because City are leading the pack.
I think City are in a league of their own.
Yeah, this is personally, and I'll be honest, just a fun thing I'll say. This is something, and I know Steve's not going to agree but this is City being the best of a bad bunch. City are not, this City team is not, you know, they're playing incredible and they've won, 14 games in a row or something. Sorry, I've got it wrong, yeah? But this team is not world beaters. They're not the most incredible team with no weaknesses that I've ever seen in all the great Premier League sides. Even the side that they had that was the Centurions 3 years ago. This side's not on that level. This is a poor Premier League at the moment. This is a Premier League.
It's better with Aguero in it, is it? As the front. When you're playing Gabriel, I think Gabriel Jesus got 2 goals, but I still think Aguero's levels.
100%. And even some of their main marksmen has not been actually playing that good this season. That's the irony. But then look at how far ahead City are because it's a bad league at the moment. It's very, very bad. A lot of teams in the middle. There's a lot of teams that are okay, which gives the opportunity from probably second at the moment, second to probably 9th, that could basically finish anywhere in that range. You know, that's the reality.
Does that not make it a good league though? If anyone can beat anyone,
it makes it competitive, but it doesn't make it.
Look at everyone below, and everyone's beating everybody, and everyone's changing. But so obviously, surely to God, the league's gone up a notch if everyone's beating everyone.
I'm gonna pin that question there about if this league is becoming a farmers' league, because that's what we as a lot of Premier League
Liverpool totally smashed the league last year by miles. Nobody said it was a farmers' league. We're running away with this year. It's a farmers' league.
Well,
but you know what, Steve?
Because last year the league was crap again as well in terms of competitive.
Yeah, but no one was calling Liverpool saying, "Oh, it's a farmers' league." Last year they were saying how good Liverpool was, and they've ran away with it.
Can I just say something?
Because we're doing it this year, it's like, oh no, it's a farmers
I don't
league.
agree. I don't agree because I'd say that you play better football than Liverpool did. So I think Man City on the eye. I said this earlier. Man City, in terms of the way you play football.
I'm not sure about that, Matisse. I'm not sure.
I prefer to watch Man City play football than I do Liverpool.
Now, but not Liverpool last season. Liverpool
last season.
Yeah, they blew everyone away. But I'm just saying, that's the first time Liverpool have done it 2 seasons in a row. The 1 season where they missed out only just. But Man City have won 3 out of the last 4 Premier League titles. So in terms of being a top team, I think Man City in terms of domestically being a top team, Man City have been more consistent than anybody in the last decade, you know, almost.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's
so
true.
So that's what I'm measuring up against. But in terms of the league being a farmers' league, I would have said the same really for last season if we was doing this show. But maybe because Liverpool fans, you know, drowned out the noise.
And it was a pandemic. No,
it wasn't a pandemic. The league was finished before the pandemic started. This year's a pandemic. They're my true hater.
You know them ones where you just give them a little asterisk alongside his trophy.
No. This like man was calling me last year saying you got the COVID Cup. I'm like, bro, the league was done before before a pandemic started. If anything's a COVID Cup, it's this season because this season's just a mess. It's just a mess.
No, Steve, just to answer what you said quickly, because all I was trying to say is, you know, even if you compare last season, at least last season, the teams the teams that were challenging for the top 4 had somewhat a little bit of consistency going for those top 4 positions. Here, you know, it's anyone's game. It just seems like any result, no team seems to be able
surely that makes the league better, doesn't it? That's what you want. If it's a farmers' league, the same 4 teams getting the top 4 every year, and that's a farmers' league. This year, West Ham are going up there, Everton are climbing up there. 1 minute Chelsea's down here, then they're up there. City were 9 points behind at one point. Look at us now.
Yeah, but to be fair, Steve, if you look at any other league and you saw 15 points gap, you would say farmers' league. You would win.
I'm just looking at the league in general, not the top. Forget the top. We just dusted everyone. Look at everyone below that.
I think as well, if you think about it, and Akeem, you made this point earlier. You're speaking about like mentality and setting up. Obviously, City are there to be shot at. You know, they are better than everyone this season. There's no doubt about it. The league says it all. And to be honest, it's disappointing that the teams that you expect to be up there, you know, the Man Uniteds, the Chelseas, the Liverpools, they have been caught by the teams that you wouldn't expect. You know, the Evertons, the West Hams, you know, you've all lost points to teams that ordinarily you'd expect to beat fairly consistently, but this season's been completely mad. And I think that's partly down to the fact there's no fans, fair enough. But it's allowed Man City, who probably are the most set up in terms of the full squad depth, the whole overall package, to be able to go home and away. You know, Man United, again, no disrespect to Man United, but they struggled at home for the first 4 or 5 games, if I remember, at the start of the season. And yeah, pulled it back. Liverpool have recently struggled at home, as we already know. Everton have struggled at home this season. You know, we're seeing teams this season playing better away from home, and the only one that's been consistent has been Manchester City. So
but
I think it speaks volumes, not necessarily of the league, but of our teams. I mean, obviously it's different for Everton because, you know, our goal's longer term than you guys. You're already up there. You're already competing. But for us, it's a positive that you guys have almost took a backward step a little bit. And we and the West Hams are able to challenge that. And look, I mean, our record against the Big Six this season is phenomenal. We've the only team that has taken all of the points off us is Manchester City. We've got points off everyone else. So it's a mad season this season. And I think that is partly down to the fans as well, to be fair.
Sorry, if you asked an Everton fan over the last 3 years, was it a farmers league? They were probably a bit delusioned because they were just not ever competing. They were just sort of there. If you asked a West Ham fan, the same. You ask an Everton fan, a West Ham fan, a Leeds fan this year whether this league's rubbish, they'd probably say no because it's one of the best seasons they've ever had. You ask an Arsenal fan and a Tottenham fan and a Chelsea fan, they're going to tell you, yeah, this season's terrible. But we're saying it from our point of view. You ask them other teams whether the league's terrible. They're saying no because they're going to a game last 3 years thinking we're going to get beat. They're going into a game this season thinking, you know what, we might have a chance here. Might have a chance.
That's a fair comment.
Because the reason why I bring it up is because you look at France, usually PSG run away with it. Then people say it's a farmers league, there's no competition. You look at, and I'm talking about competition at the top, not competition for the middle ground in terms of battling to be the best of the worst or the best of the shit. I'm talking about competition at the top of the league. For the last 2 seasons, there's been no competition at the top of the league. You look at Italy, when Juventus run away with it, same thing. And Spain, when Barcelona or Real Madrid run away with it, same thing. So why is that? I have to ask Steve, why is that not applied to the Premier League? Why is it always flipped? If the Premier League is the most competitive league in the world, why is Man City and Liverpool now, for let's say the last 4 years, those are the only 2 teams that are competing for the league, and the rest of the teams in this league? How long have Man United been trying to catch up to Manchester City or Liverpool? How long have Chelsea been trying to catch up to Man City and Liverpool?
The thing is, they've had the resources to catch him. Man United have spent nearly £1 billion, not won the Premier League title, so they've had the resources. So it comes down to a couple of things. It comes down to A, bad decisions in managers, and B, managers' bad decision in players. Liverpool got it right with Klopp. He came in at first, the pressure went on him, and he used the money that he got from Coutinho, and he built a fantastic team that played attractive football and is winning trophies. Pep Guardiola came in the first season. He knew his team needed changing. He had 7 or 8 players that were too old. He didn't win anything, even though the press said he's got to win everything. He didn't win anything the first season. Then he flips it on his head and he made the adjustments in his team, and he's built a good team. Mourinho's tried it at United. Van Gaal, he's not quite done it. Lampard had a big window last time, 250 million in one window. He didn't do it. Then you look at Everton with Ancelotti. He's came in. He's brought a different mentality to the club. They've given him a little bit of money. And if you look at the players he's bought, he's added to an already decent squad. He's added a few little pieces of the jigsaw, and now Everton look like the next transfer window. If he does that again, you're going to have a real problem because Ancelotti knows what he's doing. The Everton board know what they're doing, and the players he's buying are actually fitting into it. They're not just going out and panic buying, grabbing free transfers, people at the end of the career. They're actually, you can see Ancelotti building something there. So, I think it's a lot of things, but the Premier League, Man City and Liverpool are right at the top. The other teams have got to look up there and think, how do we get to that level? And they can throw money at all you want, but money doesn't. You just don't throw money at a problem and you create it. Man United proved that.
Agreed. I just wanted to say, I think it is interesting. I do think the pandemic in the last 2 seasons, obviously this season and last season, has skewed a few things. Obviously, not the fact that Liverpool won the league last season. They were clearly. They were probably 2 games off winning it before the pandemic hit. And I'm not trying to take anything away from what City have done this season or any side for that matter. But I do think I called that from, like everyone did, like the minute that we went into a pandemic a year ago, that this season and last season, and especially this season, once there was no fans, was going to skew things. Now, obviously, it's about which team can deal with it the best. And City at the moment have dealt with it the best. Or shall I say, in relative terms, West Ham have actually dealt with it the best, because they're probably the most they've over expected. They performed the best out of any team in the Premier League in relative terms to where they should be. West Ham. Yeah. So ultimately, they are great examples. But if you look across the board, because we've been talking about European leagues, look at what's happened in the SPL with Rangers and Celtic being dethroned. Look what's happened in Serie A with Juve finally, after 8 or 9 years, finally, like now being actually challenged by AC Milan and Inter. But
that's partly because they hired a rookie manager. This is
but even if you look at La Liga, the same has happened.
If you hire a rookie manager like Pirlo, then you shoot yourself in the foot. Juventus got too cocky. They thought that okay, Sarri came in, won the title. They thought they could win the title with anyone, because they disrespected, really, again, same thing with what I feel Chelsea did, disrespecting the experienced manager and thinking, okay, cool, we can do it with anyone. Bringing a rookie like Pirlo, and it all falls flat on his face. That's kind of what. Do you
think mainly we're talking, because I know Steve mentioned it as well, you think mainly we're talking about coaches and experience and mentality, in the sense that
potentially, because look at the top teams in the world hiring rookie managers, and then you've got an Everton who bring in Carlo Ancelotti. I was just having an argument on the Big Six yesterday that Arsenal should, with the predicament they're in as a club, should be bringing in a top coach. They're telling me they can't attract one. I'm like, but Everton got Carlo Ancelotti. So what's the levels here?
You banged on. Yeah, you banged on. Just to throw in there, you think about Everton over the last, say, 10 years. Let's go back fairly far. Yeah, we had David Moyes, and he made us a top 6 team. We were a top 6 team every season, but that was when there wasn't the top 6. It was a top 4 back then. Then obviously we've had some really shit recruitment, and we end up with Marco Silva, who quite honestly has never been at the level that an aspiring team wants to be. He had loads of money thrown at him, and he pissed it all up a wall. And the simple fact of the matter is, look at the difference between a Marco Silva Everton side and a Carlo Ancelotti Everton side. That's your difference. There's it glaringly obvious to people. So, to be fair. And I said this to Turkish as well. The worst thing they did was go and get a manager like Arteta, who when they needed a firm, experienced head. And it's the same, no disrespect to Chelsea. I think they fucked up when they got Lampard. And I think Manchester United, over the time, Manchester United this season could easily have challenged Manchester City. They've got the team, they've got the midfield, they've got the strike force. They could easily have challenged, but because of Ole, in my opinion, they never had the right mentality to do it. And that is where, touch wood, obviously, and Everton's, we back Carlo. That's where Everton have identified, and they've changed that, and that's where our journey begins. But for clubs like Chelsea, they've got Tuchel now, who's a good man, obviously. Klopp will get Liverpool firing again. For Manchester United, in my humble opinion, and Arsenal, they have to go and get an experienced manager, because the longer they waste time with Ole and Arteta, the longer they're going to get further away from Man City, in my opinion.
Agreed. I don't disagree with that at all. I've said it, our side probably not from a man-to-man perspective. Not all of our players are world class. As a squad, our team was good enough. Is definitely good enough to challenge for the title. And ultimately, it comes from mentality so much so, that unfortunately, I know it's become a meme. But if you break down, what normally happens at full time, I'm sure it only happens with Man United. Maybe I'm thinking about it too much. They zoom in on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's face. He's normally smiling when we draw, or when he's actually smiled when we've lost before, but by small margins. And it's like, is that mentality? Like, I know it's his character, and people say, "Oh,
he smiled when Fred missed the other day."
Yeah, and it's like I get it, and I get it. Even in the press conferences afterwards, he giggles and stuff. And I know it's his character. He's a more happy-go-lucky sort of guy, but it's just
he's very lucky. Trust me.
It's like, if you were really angry, you will show a bit of anger and annoyance, and that's what. To be honest, that was the one thing when I looked at Arteta, Ole, or Lampard. That was the one thing that I liked about Lampard. That Lampard at least looked disappointed. at his team's performances. At least he looked it, you know. Whereas Arteta seems like he's like kind of like he's not too bothered. He's not as bothered as much, and especially Ollie. He's almost like he's literally happy to be there. That's the problem.
It's like Klopp at Liverpool. It's like Klopp at Liverpool, obviously, and I'm not meaning to dig this up. Like I'm not doing it in. Go on. But obviously, the other week, Everton went to Liverpool. First time in 21 years, they win a game. They win. It's a massive result for me. First time I've seen Everton win at Liverpool. But Klopp was fuming about it. There was no laugh. There was no giggles. There was no nothing. He was absolutely livid. And you knew that them boys were going to get a beat down on the training ground the day after. I can't say the same and guarantee that with managers like Arteta and Ole, because I just don't think they've got it in them.
Yeah. Go on, Jay. I think you want to
when they got Ole, I always felt that he was like a stopgap manager. And I think that because he's done better than they've kind of expected due to, I feel, the league not being so great this year, that he's kind of, because if you ask a lot of Man United fans, I feel they know Ole's not the right guy, but they try and like, he's one of the legends. They try and like look after him a bit. But if you ask them like real like football now, is he good enough for United? Yeah, 90% of them would say no. So let's ask Akeem. Akeem, is Ole good enough for United?
No.
Sentiment's dead in football now.
He never was.
Sentiment's dead.
He never was good enough for United, and ultimately, you know, he got the job. He got the job because, you know, of what he's done as a player, you know. And unfortunately, the same goes for Frank Lampard, you know, and it's the same situation. And it's a soft decision by the board because they know that they're going to get the fans on board with an Ole signing. He'll be cheap. He'll be cheerful. And if it didn't work out, because remember, it was an interim, it wasn't even supposed to be a long contract to start with. If it works out, then they've saved a lot of money. Just like when Ljungberg came in. If Ljungberg won 5 games in a row, you probably wouldn't even have got a new manager. You probably would have ended up being a long-term manager. That's what happens.
Same when Giggs took over as well.
100%.
Is Ole a yes man then? Is Ole a yes man?
Well, the thing is, look, what you got to realize is the way some of these big clubs work. Like these big clubs, when you get, and you'll notice it with a lot of legends, Man United legends, that the way they talk about Man United, they're very sensitive about the way they talk about them. And that's because players like Ole, when he left the club, he got given an ambassador role. He still got on the payroll because a lot of these guys still get paid a salary every year that has retired. He gets a lot of benefits. He gets given free travel around the world, and he gets given the option to come back as a coach at any point. Of course. So for him, he's always been a great servant to United, and it all trickles in as a great choice. And unfortunately, the board went with a choice where after pressure from the fans, the same pressure that Arsenal felt after Wenger got left the club. So Man United, unfortunately, because of all the rhetoric, which again something I've never agreed with, I was 100% for Mourinho. I'm one of the only United fans that, you know, there's so many United fans who are like, oh, I couldn't wait for him to leave. Up to even the last day he left, I said it was a terrible decision for him to go. And it's not because I don't think there was better managers out there. It's because I knew once he leaves, the manager that replaces him was not going to be good enough. And that was the fact. You know, it wasn't going to be good enough. And Mourinho is an elite coach. And, you know, as much as people laugh at Spurs are still in the cup final at the end of the season. They're still in the Europa League. And they're ultimately still with the possibility of achieving the same thing that they was going to achieve league wise anyway. It's still a good seat. He's still showing. I keep
saying it from second to fourth is the same prize. I keep saying it. You're the first of the losers in second. It's not really
last night.
About. It depends for me. Depends on your average points. Points each season. If you build on your points tally at the end of the season, then I can say there's been progression. Steve, also the super chats for you there, just to answer that as well after you finish.
Yeah. Flintoff, he's a Liverpool fan. Yeah, I know what he's saying there. They probably will be back. But last night on the Big Six, no jokes aside, right? Me and Saeed, we talk about it. The thing is, you can't get a point across to Saeed sometimes. He's very, very passionate about his team, but he's very, very blinkered about his team. The thing is with Solskjaer, the Mourinho, the Manchester United under Mourinho, yeah, they won them trophies, but the whole place, It seemed like it was not a decent place to work. The players didn't look happy, blah, blah, blah. We know that. They brought Solskjaer in, and like you say, he came in, he was the Man United legends, it was all smiles, the training ground looked a brighter place, and everything looked rosy. Ollie was at the wheel, the fans got a lift, everyone got a lift. But when you take a step back from the Man United situation without your Man United tinted spectacles on, and you look at it like I'm looking at it, who's seen some fantastic Man United teams over the years, and there's no way on this God's planet that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer should ever have got that job for me, because he's not a Manchester United manager. He's a Manchester United legend. There's a big difference. And at the end of the day, there's another big problem I have with Manchester United, right? This is me talking as a football fan. A lot of them players have let that team down. I don't care. You can blame the Glazers, you can blame Solskjaer, you can blame what you want. But a lot of them players that go out on that pitch have got qualities better than any team. And if you're asking me, did he perform to the abilities? I say no. Because even in games, when you're struggling, individual players, never mind what the manager says, never mind where he tells you to play, individual players will always shine through and do things. And they don't. And there's problems there with them players. And I said to Saeed last night, you'll never, ever win that league with Paul Pogba. Don't care if they hate me in the chat or what. You'll never win that league with Paul Pogba. You'll never win that league with Martial. You'll never win the league with Fred in midfield, and you'll never win the league with McTominay. And until they get that in their head, and until they strip the club from top to bottom, and they need a really serious manager to come in and say to Pogba, right, listen, mate, you've been here how many years? What have you done? Now, do one. Right, Martial, how many years are we giving you? Right, you've had enough time, do one. That is exactly what they need to do. And until someone comes, I hope nobody does that, mate, because I like United where they are now. But someone will come in one day, someone will strip it, he won't be scared of the egos, he'll rub that team out, start again, and Man United will go back up where they belong.
Well, I'll be honest. Look, I mean, the truth is, as much as I think Pogba obviously is the best midfielder in the league, in my opinion, at his best.
You don't show it though. You don't show it.
No, he doesn't. No, look. The reality is, I feel that is a sort of model that I feel if you really give Mourinho 3 to 5 years, that is ultimately what he'll do. He'll play the player he wants to. I think if he was there for another 6 months, he would have drove Pogba out the club. He probably would have brought in a lot of players that maybe isn't as pleasing on the eye, like a Højbjerg. I'm not saying United, but players like that. And ultimately, he would have built a team that he wants, not based on ego but based on what he likes. And I feel Ollie has done a thing of bringing everyone together and making people like each other better more. But ultimately, that doesn't mean anything. Look, I went to 2 of those games in the 11 or 12 game unbeaten run at Ollie's at the Wheel when we were going through that. And I remember there was one time I remember literally being in the stands, and it was only, and I think barring about 7 to 10 minutes of the game, we were singing Ollie at the Wheel on repeat. On repeat, literally. No other player songs, just Ollie at the Wheel, the whole Ollie at the Wheel song.
Someone, just to finalise the Manchester debate before we move to Merseyside, and I'll read the super chat as well, but someone in the chat just said, Martial, you said and Pogba, but let me just focus on Martial. Martial walks into the City team. Are you high?
No, you know what, Matisse, just before we even move, sorry, this comment here, yeah? I just want to say really quickly is that is completely incorrect. And that is one of the problems at the moment.
Tackle it.
Yeah? Look, the reality is, United finished 3rd last season. Let's just make that clear. We finished 3rd last season. Anything but a title race this season is not progression. Please do not say 3rd to 2nd is progression. It's not. We finished 2nd 3 years ago. Yeah? We finished 3rd last season. And if it wasn't for our starting at the end, we would have finished clear of Chelsea. We were solid 3rd for most of that for the last stage of that season. Anything but a title race this season is not good enough in terms of progression. So please don't say we've progressed because we're 2nd in the league now. That's absolutely not true.
I completely agree. And just to finalise on it, I think if Man United were going to challenge for a title, I think it would have been this year. I know Man City have gone on a 21 unbeaten run, and people say Man City have gone way clear. But someone put up a super chat earlier saying that Man City, this is maybe top 3 teams in Premier League history. I don't think so. I think Man City have had better teams themselves, let alone top 3 in Premier League history. You don't even have a real striker. I wouldn't say Gabriel Jesus is a top striker. I've seen Aguero. I've seen even Edin Dzeko. So for people to be saying this is a top 3 Premier League team, it's not. What it is, and this is why I brought up the Farmers League debate. This is a great Man City that are very extremely well coached as well. But if the top teams behind them were on their shit, this wouldn't be happening. Agreed. I blame the teams behind them that are not on levels, and I think it speaks volumes when a Man United is second, and I see the way that they played at the weekend. When a Chelsea play how they did for half the season and sit behind West Ham. When Arsenal, Tottenham, they're not even in the discussion really at the moment. Arsenal are not even in the discussion for Champions League football. They're 2 points behind Aston Villa, I think, and they've still got 2 games in hand. So we'll move on to Merseyside now, because I wanna get that beef going. Because listen, you two are neck and neck. You're right next to each other now. Do you know what I'm saying? You're sitting right next to each other. Yeah. Obviously, there's reasons for Liverpool why they are where they are, but at the end of the day, the table is the table, regardless of what's going on off the pitch in terms of injuries and etc. You are right next to Everton. But before I get on to Liverpool, because we've definitely grilled Liverpool many times on this show, and I'm gonna give you time, Jay, before I get into it. Mike, can your team finish top 4 this season? That is the question. No.
And there's no point being too over optimistic. This team finished 12th last year. Let's put it in levels. This Everton team finished 12th last year. Yes, we made some good signing. Alan Decore, Ben Godfrey. I don't know how much you guys have watched Ben Godfrey, but he is absolutely phenomenal.
Excellent.
Yeah. So yes, we've stepped up, but there's still issues at Everton. They still need a right back. They still need a goalkeeper. We still need a winger. And until we address those areas, I think top 4 is probably out of reach. However, look, if you'd have said to me that we were going to be challenging for Europa League football, then yeah, that's the next level, isn't it? That's the next step in Everton's journey. So yeah, let's get there. We've got the new stadium on the go. We've got we're in European positions now. So touchwood, we're there. We've got a game in hand on the guys above us. So yes, technically we win our game in hand. Yes, we can finish in the top 4. But I just want to downplay it a little bit and just say, yes, we've got the right manager for it. We haven't quite got the right squad yet.
I was just going to say,
your one win in your game in hand, you're in the top 4. You're in it.
Yeah. And look, I'm not gonna, a big thing for us again, I'm gonna go back to it, Jay. I'm really sorry, but a big thing for us was winning at Anfield, because the reason that was the first of a domino for us. It's been 21 years since we've won at Anfield. So that domino is now toppled. That mentality, that struggle, that issue is now gone. The next thing is a trophy, because again, Everton haven't won a trophy in 30 years. That's got to go as well. So that's an FA Cup, that's a Carabao Cup, whatever starts that journey. And then the next one is Champions League football. That's going to take time. That's not going to happen now. I can't see us winning the FA Cup, beating Liverpool, and qualifying for the Champions League all in the same season. Do you get what I'm saying? It takes time.
Yeah, I get that. Do you know what it is about Everton is that I think the reason why I think your dark horse is maybe if you're saying not this season, but I think you'll be able to sustain it is because of your owners. We talk about, people have mentioned American owners in football in terms of Man United, in terms of Arsenal, in terms of Liverpool, FSG, and hampering their clubs and not being ambitious enough and not spending the money correctly and not really being real football men or all this kind of stuff. Everton are backed very well. We saw this summer. There was a summer to back your manager, back a top manager. It was this summer because, again, we can see it's a freak of a season. You brought in James Rodriguez. You brought in Godfrey. You brought in, you obviously trained as well, which I like. You actually improved players. Calvert-Lewin has gone up leaps and bounds as well. And you brought in, I thought, the main thing, again, this is why James Rodriguez, if you're going to sign him, make sure you get a double pivot behind him that works. And you've got Decore in there and you've got Allen. I mean, to flip it, obviously nobody sends in this super chat here. Question for the Liverpool fan. So for Jay, you guys will get used to the names real quick. Of course, show's been gone for a couple of weeks, so I'll let you off. Why are you worried about Everton doing a potential City? And are you worried about Liverpool not making top 4 as well? I'll add to that.
I think Everton doing a City, possibly. I'm not worried about that right now. I'm not worried about that. I can't see that for now. Even though they've got them the money to back them and a great manager, I can't see them doing what City have done at this present time. I am worried about top 4 because we haven't got the money that the rest of you don't have. And we rely on getting into the top 4. Our owners, they don't really put a lot of their own money and they use other avenues of money to, fund certain things. So I think if we don't get top 4, we're in big trouble. That's going to hamper us a lot and set us back. So for me, I said it a few weeks ago. Top 4 is the priority. Even when we was a few points behind City, I always said this: top 4 is the key. If If we drop top 4, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. So and going back to Everton, I think this is the best year for Everton. Everton, this is your chance to get top 4, because next year, when everything gets back to normal and we get our players back, these things
Mike, I just wanted to ask, what's Everton's highest league position in Premier League history? Where's the highest you finished?
4th.
4th. Okay.
And
that was a genuine question. I just wanted to
because they got 4th, and then we come about 7th, and we got in Champions League. They didn't. Sometimes, you know what I mean?
yeah. So Liverpool.
Yo, the way that he just sat there, just like smirked into the camera, that was
now. Do you know what? It's calm. Everton finished 4th. Liverpool finished 5th. They won the Champions League. They did well, and Everton went into the qualifiers. Liverpool started in the League One qualifiers. They played TNS and people like that. Everton went up. Or something. Yeah, we played Villarreal. Yeah, quite a tough time.
Look at that.
They got to the semi-final of the Champions League that season. So I never downplay it. But look, the facts are 2 years ago. This is, and again, I'm not trying. Well, yeah, I am a little bit. But, Liverpool 2 years ago won the Champions League and lost the league by 1 point, and that 1 point was lost at Goodison Park. So let's just remember that.
See, these men will take anything, and that's why, like I said earlier in the show, when they won against us, it didn't really hurt me and my Liverpool fans like as it would, because. Like, I don't know, they was there celebrating like they won the league. I saw the changing room pictures after. They was busting their Zonto, doing mad dances in there. I said, okay, you lot have that. And to be fair, like you lot have had kind of like a hand in our downfall. To be fair, because at Goodison Park, that was like WWE versus WWF, WCW. Like you lot went out to kill us, and from then it's that game affected us a lot. I think because. Obviously, Big Verge got out for the season. Thiago was out for quite a lot of games, and that was the start of a lot of things. I think with us, it was mentally.
I think it's. A
lot of people are saying in the chat, Everton are starving and whatnot.
and look, I get it, but this Liverpool team also lost 7-2 to Aston Villa before they played Everton. There was a lot of issues at Liverpool, in my opinion, before they played Everton. Van Dijk's in the team; they were poor. Van Dijk,
we got smoked.
The injury that happened. I mean,
the assault.
Yeah, look, a goalkeeper's got to come out. He's got to be big at the end of the day. He's got to be big. I don't think it's deliberate. Yeah, he's got to make himself big. He's gone to a ball. He's gone in like that star, which is exactly how you taught as a goalkeeper. He's played the ball with Van Dijk. He's played the ball.
This is how I know you're a Liverpool fan, because you're still complaining about injuries from like 6 months ago.
And equally, and this is another thing. This is another thing. How Liverpool's issue. Defending wise, yeah, fair enough. They've lost Van Dijk. They've also lost Matip. They've lost their centre backs all season.
5 centre backs.
Yeah, it's unlucky. There's no doubt about that. And I won't sit here and say anything other than it is unlucky. It's unprecedented to hear that. But Liverpool have had other issues. Like, in my opinion, Mane has not been as good as he has been over the last few years. I don't think Firmino is good enough, and I don't think the board identified that and brought in the replacement when they really should have, in my opinion.
But do you think
we brought Jota in? Sorry, we brought Jota in. I think Jota, like I said a few weeks ago, Jota was scoring a lot of goals and covering a lot of their deficiencies. So obviously, when he came out the team now, got injured in the Champions League, dead rubber. A lot of Liverpool fans are fuming about that. Against Midtjylland or something like that. That's when he done his knee ligaments. He didn't play in that game, but he was covering a lot. He was scoring. If you look at it, he scored about nine goals in a short space of time.
And a lot of games.
Yeah, a lot of the other guys weren't really firing. They was kind of playing the same way they are.
Do you not think it was a little bit of an oversight from not just Liverpool, but even Liverpool fans? Because to be fair, I know Liverpool fans don't control the transfer window, but if you did, like, if you look back a year ago, I mean, you might have a different opinion, but a year ago, if you ask a Liverpool fan, which sort of players do you need to bring in? Who do you need? You would say, no, our team's perfect. Firmino. No, I never saw. I honestly never saw a Liverpool fan criticize Firmino. I mean, every other fan used to laugh at the joke of a defensive forward who doesn't score goals, and every Liverpool fan defended him to the ground. But now all of a sudden, he's not good enough for Liverpool. You guys said he was good enough all this time.
No, he's definitely dropped off. His numbers, he's just been going backwards, to be fair. And we were defending him because he earned the right to be defended with what he's done previously to that. But this season, you can't really defend him. He's been poor.
And do you not think? And also, I think like one of the mistakes, and this is one of the reasons why it's so hard to win back-to-back or win three titles in a row or anything, from that perspective. It's like, no, I'm not even trying to say that. I mean, like, you've got to make constant improvements, but also you got to realize, I think Liverpool in those 2 years, so many of your players were at their peak, I feel like. And, you had Firmino, Mane, Salah, even Henderson, even all the way back to the back of your team. Obviously, besides a few players like Trent and Robertson and Virgil van Dijk, a lot of the other players were probably at their peak, and you just relied on those players. You didn't build up youngsters quick enough, and unfortunately, only two of your youngsters has really made it through in a season that you really should have brought more young talent through your academy, considering how good your academy is.
There's not.
Can we not talk about Liverpool youngsters? Because if you remember, them youngsters twatted us in the FA Cup last year. So let's not talk about the Liverpool youngsters too much.
I was getting to that. Like Everton thought their best chance of winning, obviously last year, was the FA Cup, and that was you lot put your first team out, we put our under 18s out, and dealt with you lot differently. But going back to what you said, Akeem, about signing players, I think. A lot of Liverpool fans I spoke to were talking about the centre-back was the big thing for us. Because obviously Lovren went, and there was talk about Fabinho going to centre-back. But when you play Fabinho and centre-back, we lose a lot from midfield, which is shown. You know what I mean? And then obviously Henderson had to go back in there. It's just the team's us all over the gaff, to be fair. And everyone knows they can get at us. And I just want to get top 4, bro. Like, give me top 4.
I think with everything that's happened for you guys, if you just secure top 4, that will be just... it's not obviously what you hope for at the start of the season, but with all the context around it, get top 4 and get out type mentality for me. I have to, before I bring Big Steve into this, I just want to quickly look at this super chat. The chat popping off. Big Steve, what the hell is this super chat? Like, I don't know. I'm looking at people, and obviously I'm going to respond because it's super chat, and obviously bless for the super chat. But what is that, bro? Matt, will Chelsea consider having Phil Foden? Okay, by the way, we have absolutely no chance of having Phil Foden not in this life and not the next. So you can take Phil Foden out of your mouth in terms of Chelsea. That's never going to happen. He's born and bred Manchester City. He's going to stay there and he's going to do his thing. We couldn't afford him anyway. Plus 70 million. So what is going on here? This is a FIFA transfer that I've never seen before. So a player that we don't own plus 70 million for Haaland plus Mason Mount if Man City does not go into a bidding war. We don't own Foden, so we can't exchange him. And I don't think we get rid of Mason Mount for Haaland because Mason Mount is also part of the future as well. And I don't think Dortmund would take 70 million plus a player because they want to cash in, because if they don't cash in, they're going to have to accept a buyout of, I don't know what it is. I think it's around 70 million for 2022. So that's why if they sell him this season, if they miss out on Champions League, then they will they'll probably sell him for 100+ million and try and get the money that they won't get next year. So that super chat is a complete mess. But Big Steve, what do you think if we was to look at Mystic Steve, right? Let's get this crystal ball working, yeah? If you was to make predictions and projections for the two Merseyside clubs over the next couple years, and I'll give you like points for and against just to give you the perspective here. Liverpool, obviously, aging squad, Klopp, we never know. He might want to move on and move to a different team. You never know. If they miss out on Champions League football, all these things. And obviously, FSG, they don't splash. They have to sell to buy. Everton, on the other hand, seem to be building up momentum. They spend the money. They've got a top coach as well. So they're on par with Liverpool in that perspective as well. And they potentially could get Champions League football. We never know. They're, like I said, game in hand, they win it. They're in it. So What would do you think there could be a try and get ahead of the curve for a second? Do you think there could be a change in the momentum swing any way?
Similar things happened in Manchester, obviously, when City got a little bit of investment and that. And like what Mike was saying before, a bit like the domino effect. The thing is with Everton, their fans, like you say, the chat was saying they're starved and all that. Their expectation levels, they've been patient now for 20 odd years, so they can be patient for another couple. So if they're looking at what Ancelotti's bringing to the table, and if they can see progression season on season coming up for the next 2 or 3 years, that fan base is going to be happy. They're not going to be screaming at Ancelotti if he gets beat 3-4-0 because they can see progression. So if they keep adding to the signings they've added, if they keep breaking down these little realistic targets like Mike's laid out, then Everton will be going in the right direction. Because that is what happened with City fans when we got Mancini. They had banners at Old Trafford, they were taking the piss, and we started off slow, and we slowly started taking them down. And that's because the fan base didn't expect anything. They were Man City. We never won nothing. We were just happy to be on this roller coaster. But then all of a sudden, your mentality changes. When you see these barriers coming down, when you see your team coming out on the pitch with the chest out, when you get them going to Old Trafford and putting 6 past them, that's when you start getting that elite level mentality. And I think it will come with Everton. It's early days, but the way Carlo's doing, look at Ancelotti, what a perfect job for the guy. There's no pressure on the guy. He's going to a club that there's not won any trophies for ages. Liverpool across the road are winning everything, right? All he's got to do is show that Everton supporter that he's the man for the job and he's got a plan. And then they fell in love with him and they buy it and they're going for it. So for Everton, that's what I can see happening with them. With Liverpool, you don't just become a bad team overnight. They flattened everyone last year. They played fantastic football. They won the European Cup. You just got to take your hat off to them. So there is problems, and Klopp will know what them problems are, so he will address them. The only thing that worried me a little bit was the signing of Kabak and the kid from Preston. That I said it on the Super 6. If you go to Asda and you want a steak for your team, don't shop in the whoopsie aisle because you get salmonella, and that's what Liverpool did with them too. So if they can get the money in, they get in the top 4, get the Champions League money, and he can reinvest it wisely because they only need a couple of additions. Then Liverpool this season will be forgot about. Next season they'll just be Liverpool back in the top 4. That's my opinion on both sides.
Yeah, love that. And Jay, just to bounce off that, I mean, what do you make of the whoopsie aisle?
Bro, like, you know, I always have when your team goes shopping, you always have a little glimmer of hope because the past transfers that we've been doing haven't been too bad. But like for Kabak, bro, this guy is. I just want to know when we can send him back because he like literally.
Do you not think, Jay, like is again, just
go back to what
I said.
You're gonna do a wind-up thing.
No, I'm not. I'm not. Why do you think I'm always winding up? I'm talking proper. No. I just find it odd that like you. It's not like a team that flashed in a pan that suddenly got good. Let's say a West Ham, for example. That let's say they finished 3rd this season. And then they lose a lot of players for injury or transfer, and you could almost be like they were shell-shocked. They didn't have time to rebuild. Liverpool have been good, or one of the best sides in the world, if not the best, at certain points in the last 3 years. Yeah, we were the best in the world. At one point, you were the best team in the world. That's a fact. Even I said it, even as hard as it was. I just think it was so naive, regardless of if you talk about money or not. It was so naive to not have cover for certain positions. I just don't get it. It's like even clubs that are weaker have cover, and it's like the fact that, you don't even have some cover. It's not like you had a player that's not as good to step in. You didn't have any cover at all, and I just think.
Well, like the main issue I think was the centre backs. That's what's caused all this problem in my opinion. Because I'm gonna explain why. Because they've having our 4 centre backs out has destabilize the team where our main players in our main problem now is our midfield. It's not our centre back, it's our midfield. If you look at our midfield,
I just feel like Liverpool would have had a better run. I might be wrong here, but I feel like you should have kept your team the same. As in, you should have left Fabinho or Henderson in midfield, and you should have put your eggs in the basket of Nico Williams or whatever his name is, as well as another centre back in the youth that you can rely on. Yeah, they're going to make mistakes, but the rest of your team, because they're so good and they're playing in their best position, you would have got more wins.
It's an interesting way of looking at it, and I can see the logic, because again, I saw a tweet about this as well, very similar to what Jay is saying. When you move Henderson back and you move Fabinho back, now you've weakened your midfield, and by the way, your defense is still weak because Henderson's not a centre back. So you've sacrificed 2 areas of the pitch instead of 1. And yeah, 100%, I completely agree with Akeem in the respect that yes, the centre backs are going to be weak. They're going to be dodgy. If you lose that many centre backs, you're always going to have problems regardless. But don't ruin what is going good in other areas of the pitch, kind of thing.
And do you know what as well? Just to throw it in there, is Klopp at the start of January come out very clear, I need a centre back. And it took the board, whoever the guy who signs the players at Liverpool, it took them the entire month to go and bring in 2, and we already know how bad they've been. So I don't get that. I don't get it.
We've got no money. We've got no money.
But you have. You've got to have. You have.
They're not releasing the money.
Some money, Mike. Loan them some money.
Steve, give us some money, bro, please.
I mean, look. The reality is, your club. Like Mike said. You are a super club. I mean, just to be clear, you are one of the biggest clubs in the world. So you do have money somewhere.
Also, City.
No. Liverpool, of course. City
with the Champions League could be a big team, isn't it?
No. Look, Liverpool are a super club. They're the only side alongside United in terms of size of the club. In terms of size from that perspective. So, like Mike said, you do have money somewhere. Like even if you don't have oil money, but you do have money.
We ain't got that money, bro. Seriously, we're broke, bro. We're broke.
Oh.
Who robbed you, bro? Who robbed you?
Do you know what?
Bro.
It sounds bad, but even if you'd have got
came into this league and robbed all you, man.
Now, even if Liverpool would have gone out and simply got players from other teams that could simply do a job, like Premier League experienced players who couldn't do a job. Yeah, people to take the piss. For example. I'll throw some names out there.
Mustafi.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying he's a good.
I would have took them, bro. Serious. Socrates and Mustafi.
No, don't play about Jay.
For real.
Phil Jones. Will you take Phil Jones?
But for real.
No, not Phil Jones.
Akeem's at the market now. He's just trying to do a kind of marketing. Yo, will you take him? Will you take the flog?
But for real, straight up. Obviously, those players have Premier League experience rather than the lad at Preston. So what I'm saying is, yes, but at least he complements one of the 2 that you maybe drop out of midfield. Because at sometimes you were playing Henderson and Fabinho as centre backs this season, and that was mad. And Klopp's guilty of it as well, in my opinion. But obviously, his hand was semi-forced, and if the board weren't going to back him, he was fucked from day one.
He probably did that to show that he needed centre backs. It was only when Matip got injured, like 3 days before the end of January, you had to, because it was so blatantly obvious we needed to sign somebody. If Matip didn't get injured in that game against Burnley, we would not have signed nobody. And it was only because he got injured that they literally were forced to bring Kabak, whatever his name is, in. You don't even look like
hasn't even learned off his name.
But I just feel like I feel like what I think Matisse or Mike said. I think like you should have just gone for a safe bet in the Premier League or even the Championship. There's plenty of centre backs. If you approach some of these teams in the Championship, they would have literally signed the deal within a day. It's Liverpool. You're Liverpool. No disrespect, but if you approach the club,
we've got no money.
You don't need money. It'll cost you 2 or 3 mil to get
but like, even in the summer, if you look at the players that we signed, we didn't really pay any money up front for them. It was like a couple of million here, a couple of million there. We didn't, like Jota, we didn't spend too much money on him, up front. It's all in.
I think he was like 35 million or something, wasn't it?
Yeah,
and I remember when we were going head to head, which is obviously interesting because the big fixture in probably this group this week is probably Liverpool-Chelsea. But you were going head to head with Werner with us, and you didn't want to pay the release clause, and I think the release clause was like 47 million. So that goes to show just how little money Liverpool do have, to be honest, because they didn't even want to pay a release clause for a player that Klopp wanted. Like, no question asked, Klopp wanted Werner. They both spoke publicly. Werner was twerking up and down, shaking booty.
Werner was doing the most.
Bro, I remember it. Because I didn't want Timo Werner. When I saw him strip teasing and pole dancing for Klopp, I said, nah, I don't want none of that. Keep your dirty self over there, bro. You stay there, you know what I'm saying? But then
we dodged,
you guys didn't have the money.
We dodged, though. I'd rather Jota than Werner, though. And to be fair, the only reason I think that we probably went for Jota is because we got 10 mil for whoever the one who went to Wolves, and we got installments still. So yeah, our finances are in COVID has hit us hard than most teams, to be honest. And we just wheeling and dealing. We're like Del Boy, just wheeling and dealing so we can get.
You're Harry Redknapp that pulls up Sky Sports. Yeah, you wheeling and dealer.
Serious, man.
Klopp needs to put a few players on furlough then, doesn't he?
Well, there's a lot that could go on furlough, mate. Firmino could be the first one.
Right, do you know what? Yeah, the gate receipts thing is definitely hitting everybody a bit hard, and obviously there's only a couple clubs that are really been able to keep it moving respectfully. Man City, obviously Chelsea, Man United finances. I'm sure. Coming up.
Yeah, United. Look, to be honest, United will always be okay because of the size of the club. And the finance obviously could be better as it could be for every club, but they're not the ones feeling the pain of. I'll tell you what, the teams that are really feeling the pain, or should I say, have had probably it more difficult without fans. I know people say this a lot about Liverpool, or they need Anfield and stuff like that, but I feel, or they need the fans. I feel more sorry for like the likes of Palace, who. If anyone who's been to Sellers Park, that the fans are 99% of the
ultras, bro. The ultras are serious, bro.
And you got to realize they're clubs that already are struggling anyway. At the start of the season, they could easily get dragged into and get relegated. And on top of that, they don't have money. And on top of that, no fans as well. And teams like teams like Crystal Palace, and West Ham that has done wonders with little resources as well as no fans. Those are the ones who I really feel, has ultimately done really well this season. Whereas I think Liverpool, I don't feel sorry for, with that respect, only because they're a big club.
Yeah, I feel like just to wrap up as well, I feel like obviously people are saying that Newcastle are going to get added now because they're not on levels. You know what I'm saying? I think they're not going to be able to make this one. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to be able to make the cut. That's North East, and I feel that's Sunderland, Middlesbrough business.
Yeah.
Leeds,
what you really want to say is they might get relegated. That's
and to be honest, in pandemic season, who wants to talk about Newcastle, fam? They're just Steve Bruce, negative football, relegate. It's just going to be depressing. So that's not going to happen. Man. If you guys are wondering where the extra cast member is, Conor from One Leeds Channel will be here next week. Starting next week, he's going to be with us every week as well. That will complete the 6, and then we'll have, because Leeds, although they're not near the top, they're a nice team to talk about. Bielsa play good football. They're a bit of a wild one. They concede a truckload of goals, so I think it will be fun. Super chat coming in here just before we wrap up. We're going to get predictions as well. What we're going to do, I think, we're going to do something called game of the game week. And I think if we do predictions for the big game, whoever's playing out of you guys, then we'll see who does the best there. If Chelsea can get Haaland and Rice, City, your time is over. Listen, let's just get Champions League football first before we start talking about Haaland, innit? Because I think brothers are jumping the gun. We need to.
I think you need a defender as well. You're going to need a defender.
But all I can say is we need to secure Champions League football before we start talking about all of that. Liverpool versus Chelsea, obviously for Liverpool, game of the week. I feel like that's the big game on Thursday. Predictions. I'll start with you, Steve. What do you think? How do you see that game going in a score prediction, bro?
Who was that? Chelsea and Liverpool?
Yeah, at Anfield, I think.
I can see a draw, mate.
Draw.
I can see a draw. I can see 1-1.
Okay. Mike, what about you, bro? How you feeling? Because obviously that's your rivals at Anfield. Race for the top 4. Big game for you guys to be watching.
To be fair, it's a bit weird because obviously we've got Chelsea on Sunday at Stamford Bridge.
Oh shit!
so I mean, to be honest, Everton's away form sound, so fucking bring it. But I think I agree with Steve. I think it's 1-1. There's no way Klopp is going to lose another home game. There's just no way. He won't do it. He can't. He can't lose another home game. He can't. And Chelsea, they're on a good run. They're on a good run. So they'll go there with confidence. So, yeah, I think 1-1.
Akeem, how do you feel, bro?
Well, just like Mike, I thought you were going to talk about the other big game, which is on Sunday, the Manchester Derby. There's a lot of big games this week. But
true, oh, yeah, true.
Talking about this game, I feel just like what Mike said, I can't see Liverpool losing. I actually think Liverpool will win this game because, if you take down everything we've been speaking about, and Klopp really will have a chip on his shoulder now. So I actually think it will be more comfortable. I think it will be 3-1. 3-1, I'll say. Chelsea's. Will it be Chelsea's first loss under Tuchel?
Yeah, it would be. Yeah. I mean, we've drawn our last 2 games. So I know we're in good form because we're unbeaten technically, but I think if we used to drop points again, I don't know if you call it good form.
Yeah, because I think that's another thing. You're not playing incredible as well. That's
exactly.
Factor. Yeah. So we'll see.
Jay, what about you, bro?
I'm Liverpool fans that are locked on the closure is. I can't trust our centre backs, bruv. I can't. It's like a circus, bruv. I just don't trust them. Anything could happen. And Adrian's in goal. It's just a madness. So I personally think it will be either 1-1 or 2-1 Chelsea. You guys are gonna have to cope with Giroud for 90 minutes. Giroud's proper, man. Proper striker.
Yeah, and that's mad. And for me, I just feel like, again, we have to win that game. Obviously, it's not a Chelsea show, so I won't get into too depth about it because there's other shows for that. But it's just a game where we need to win. And I think if Liverpool, they're there to be got out with those centre-backs, and we have not been free scoring. We saw that at the weekend. So if there's any time to play Liverpool, it's now. Do you know what I'm saying? So, and we're not even in the top 4. You know, West Ham, Everton, again, you know, up there as well. So everybody's must-win games in that top 4 race. It's tight as I've ever seen it. And you know what? Man City, Man United is the bigger game. So let's quickly go over that as well. Predictions, Steve. I mean, how do you think that game goes? Because obviously you guys are just you guys are just ripping it at the moment. Is that just another W and just move on kind of thing?
Listen, if they beat us on Sunday, that makes their season, innit? That's it. To us, it's just another game now. The roles are reversed, innit? I don't even class them as like our rivals anymore. All that bullshit, Man United and that, it's nothing to us anymore. We're used to slapping them up every time it matters. Semi-finals and stuff, you know, they call them the Viagra team. They can't get past the semi, can they?
No, not quite always slapping up when.
You know what I mean? So listen, the Blue Boys are confident. We ain't worried about them at all, not one bit. You know what I mean? They're still living off that time when Pogba turned up and they delayed us winning the league by 1 week. You know what I mean?
They do talk about that an awful lot.
That's the mentality of winning. You know what I mean? They delayed the small neighbours from winning the league by a week. So, listen, you know what's coming. He knows what's coming. Look at his face. You can't even look me in the eye because you know what's coming, don't you?
Yeah, look. The reality is that look, our record against City is not too bad. And like I said, you know, you went 2-0 up, and we still hammered you 3-2 at the end of the game. You know, look, Scott McSaw scored from 35 yards, I think, last season. We beat you 3 times out of four games last year. You know, I'm not worried. I'm still not worried about playing. What do you say?
You won now.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, but we won the game. We beat you. Scott McSaw scored.
Yeah, but we won the semi-final and then won the final.
Look,
Steve, they got Marshall. Steve, it's all right. It
doesn't matter. Look, I think we are going to win on Sunday because we have to win, quite frankly. And you know, I do think Pep gets a bit jittery playing against United. And if Martial is on form, Martial's on form, then we know what will happen. That's what I'm saying. Because that's what I'm going to say. We know what will happen.
And if you win, Akeem, are you back in the title race?
We're in the title race if we win. Yeah, we are. We're in the title race. But we're look. All right, let me not say the word title race. Okay, yeah. Okay, we're not in a title race, but the title is not over. The season's not done, and I think every City fan knows, regardless. Okay, look, you got over this scare today, which was good for you. But the reality is, you know, this game is a defining moment of the season. If you avoid losing, okay, fine. If we
like you're doing a
let me be honest. It's not just the fact. Look, we know how good this City side is, but we also know what happens when a form is broken. Look what happened to Liverpool after they lost their Anfield record. In every single time you see a long record broken, you then see the next 5 to 10 games after, people are a little bit jittery. They don't just go back to winning 10 games in a row again. So we know not only just losing that game psychologically will be in your heads. And that is where we wish we did have a Mourinho to start messing with you lot's head. But unfortunately, we got Ollie.
Listen, do you know what's going to happen? Yeah. Do you know what? Yeah. If you finally come to City and have the bollocks to get out your own half, right? Because all you do is sit in your own half. Then you might get a corner. Yeah, you might get a corner, or you might get up the pitch a couple of times. But other than that, mate, I can honestly see us absolutely murdering you like 4, maybe 5.
Watch out for Martial. That's all I'm saying. Let's remember that.
Wow. He'll be on the bench. He'll be on the bench.
Do you know what it is? Yeah, it's the fact that you haven't scored a goal outside of the Tottenham 6-1 defeat against the top 6. You're going up against the best defense in the league, so that tells me already you're not scoring.
But
then on top of that, you're going up against the best attack. And
but Matisse, on top of that, though,
Lindelof in it, that gives them a goal. So that's 1-0 minimum. You've lost.
That's true, but let's remember. Look, we've got players who's got a lot to prove. We know Bruno's mentality. We know how bad he's been against the top 6. That run's going to end somewhere, and unfortunately, the City is going to end on Sunday. What's his place? Bruno and Martial. Bruno and Martial.
Nah, mate.
Bruno and Martial.
Have a Martial, bro. No chance.
I'm gonna go for 2. I'm gonna go for 2-0. I'm going for 2-0.
2-0.
It might be 2-1. It might be 2-1, but I'm gonna go for 2-0.
2-0 to who? To who?
United. We'll see. Bruno, Martial. Let's see.
Wow. You need to lay off the spice, man. Lay off the spice.
I believe in Martial. He's finally gonna come good. He's we have to give him time to get to the level that he's supposed to get.
Stop it!
With a McTominay assist, yeah.
Oh, sorry, what did McTominay do against City last season? Oh yeah, I remember. Okay, cheers.
That's the famous
I'm actually gonna go watch that on YouTube after this.
Make sure you watch the treble. Make sure you watch the treble 99 DVD after that as well.
Yeah, you're definitely watching that.
You are for anybody from football Twitter. You are United Trey on YouTube right now with that comment right there. You are trolling to the nth degree. You're trolling.
That's not trolling.
2-0 win. 2-0 win.
It might be 2-1. I said it might be 2-1. It might be. Yeah.
That's straight banter, bro.
It might. Okay. All right. We'll see. If we play our best. If you play
your best, you might get a corner. Yeah.
Okay.
If you don't, you're going to be counting your own half when the fourth goes in, and Ollie will be back out the wheel and all that. Green and gold scarves will be waving about. Get Man United, all this shit. You'll be supporting Chelsea again, and you'll be all
Mike and Dave, you guys have scored predictions as well for this game. What are you thinking?
Well, Mike.
2-0 City. Sorry.
Yeah. Good lad, Mike. Good lad.
3-1 City.
Yeah, you know that.
We're not conceding 3 goals against City.
Yeah, for me, it's a 3-0. I don't ever see Man United scoring. There's no evidence to support
They might get a penalty.
I've realised Matisse hates Man United. He hates them. He hates United.
I just look, like you.
Akeem. If I'm doing an investigation,
oh wow!
Why is he got torch?
There's no evidence.
That's a proper torch.
There's no evidence. The suspect is not breathing. There's no goals in the top 6 games this season, apart from when you got slapped. Maybe 6-1. I'll give you that. 6-1.
All right, let me just say one final sentence. All I'm going to say is one final sentence. Look, an hour before the game starts, and start shaking if you see Martial in the starting lineup. If we don't have Martial in the starting lineup, we'll see.
Shaking your head. Shaking your head.
Start shaking.
Shaking your head, bro.
I'm wrapping it. What a show. I'm wrapping it. That's an unbelievable statement there. I'm not even going to get into that. We'll do a Martial episode if you need to get it all off your chest next time. Big up to everybody. Great show. Obviously, like I said, extra person joining us next week. So stay tuned for that. That will build up the 6.
He knows. He's trolling.
No, I'm not. No, do you know what? I'm laughing because I can't believe he had a torch just randomly in this room.
It was the green marks on his walls. That's what worried me. Like, you look behind, what's that? What the fuck's that, man?
Oh my goodness. People, links are in the description for everyone. Listen, like I said, yeah, this show is gonna pop off now. We're gonna be back every week, Tuesday, 10 p.m. Make sure you check out Big Steve. That is link in description as well. Follow him on Instagram. Actually, I'm gonna have to change that link as well because you come off Twitter, isn't it, Big Steve? You're off that thing. Who else we got? We got Mike. Yes, Blue Boyz Network. Guys, make sure you go and follow that as well. Go and subscribe to the channel. Everton Fan. Do you know what I'm saying? They're riding high. Like I said, top 4, they're in the discussion. So go and get stuck in. Go and get stuck in there. DJay. DJ now. That's what I've got used to it now. You see? I was saying DJay.
You know what? You can just call me JR, bro. Just JR. JR's good. JR.
JR. That makes it much easier for me. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because man was saying DJay for so long. I was like, hold on a second.
Hold on.
That's not that. There's something going on there. That's not how it's meant to be. Make sure you go and follow him on Instagram again, link in description. Akeem, #1 troll in the United community. Do you know what I'm saying? Burner account is United Trey on Twitter, but make sure you go and follow him, Akeem, on all socials as well. Akeem, any final words, bro? Because you're killing me.
Just look out for Martial.
Wow.
Just look out for him. Because if he's angry, we'll see what he's gonna do.
And it rhymes as well.
That's it.
People, I'll see you next week, Tuesday. Like I said, Conor will be joining us, Leeds fan, and that'll be that in a bit, people.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go.